Hello and welcome to MAGA, the podcast. Our mission is to show how Don the Con bamboozled our nation. Our goal is to help make sure the cult of MAGA goes down in flames by 2028. We want to stop MAGA before it becomes unstoppable and democracy further decays into a dictatorship. If we want the cult of MAGA to end, we have to know how it began and why it spread. Now, again, this is not your racist uncle's MAGA. Our MAGA stands for I'm an Angry Asshole, the cult of Donald Trump, and I am your host, the Disgusted American. So last week we took a look at how Trump's revitalized the old gangster pump and dump scheme from the 1990s. Back then, they pumped shares of worthless penny stocks and dumped them for a huge profit. Trump's doing the same thing nowadays with digital tokens. He's whoring out the presidency to line his pockets with crypto. So this week, we're going to continue to explore how Trump's pump and dump scheme works. We'll take a deeper dive into his crypto schemes, including his meme coin, his stable coin, and his new public token. We'll also take a look at what happens if Trump continues to crash the American dollar. And finally, we'll look at how much money Trump has made so far and how much he stands to make from crypto. Now, this is all a huge problem because he makes the most if the rest of us lose. Crypto thrives on chaos, and Trump has bet heavily on crypto.
In just a few hours, President Trump will head to an exclusive MAGA Inc. dinner party at the Trump National Golf Club in Virginia. Other media outlets have reported that the dinner costs $1.5 million per person and will also feature venture capitalist David Sachs. So MAGA Inc. is a super PAC that supports Trump, but it is raising ethical concerns from watchdog groups. So let's bring in Corey Frayer. He's the Director of Investor Protection for the Consumer Federation of America. Corey, thanks so much for joining us. Let's begin. We know Trump has his own crypto meme coin. So what is a meme coin? How is it different from Bitcoin?
Trump's companies have been selling several different kinds of crypto coins. A meme coin is a token that you buy because you hope to profit off of it if it becomes popular enough to sell to someone else. They are rife with self-dealing and insider trading. Trump has made at least $350 million from this meme coin so far. He plans to sell as many as 800 million more of these coins after he's increased their price by announcing these dinners for its top buyers. In effect, Trump is a pay-to-play scheme that allows his biggest buyers in his coin to meet him in person and potentially influence him. And even possibly foreign nationals may see this as a way to bribe the president.
So the Trump family also controls a crypto firm. So tell us about that.
So World Liberty Financial is a company led by Trump and his family, and his organizations own 60% of that company, and they receive 75% of its revenues. Just last week, that company announced a $2 billion deal with the brother of the president of the United Arab Emirates. That money will be used to invest in Binance, a Chinese-founded crypto firm that Trump has canceled a federal enforcement action against. World Liberty Financial also states that in a separate crypto scheme, it has made more than $550 million.
All right, so let's talk about maybe what kind of legal and ethical questions are being raised from watchdog groups.
There are a lot of alarming concerns here. It's important to remember that self-dealing isn't new to this president. In his first term, Trump had the CEO of T-Mobile spend more than $195,000 at the Trump Hotel while a $26 billion merger with Sprint was being considered. Government reports showed that he charged the Secret Service exorbitant rates to stay at Mar-a-Lago. Trump has gutted the regulators that would otherwise oversee and enforce the laws, which he has essentially repealed, that oversee bribery and corruption. So the issues he has created by allowing for this way to pay him essentially anonymously, to donate to him without anyone being able to track it, it creates enormous conflicts of interest and ethical concerns and ways for the president to profit off of his position of public trust.
With him being so heavily involved in crypto, we need to start asking ourselves, where do Trump's loyalties lie? He's making a mint from the crypto industry that his policies are helping to grow by taking away any fangs, any regulations, any way to stop these folks from committing fraud and pump and dumps and all kinds of other things. He is invested in a rival currency that competes against the US dollar for supremacy. And can you see why that's bad? If the dollar crashes, right? If the value of our money were to drop in half, we'd all be fucked. But Trump would make a fortune. And the dollar's been taking a beating under Trump. Whether we're talking about the euro, the British pound, our currency is getting its ass kicked because of Trump's goofy bullshit. At the end of the day, whatever he does shows up in money. And when people around the world start to think the United States is a circus being run by a clown, they lose trust in the American bond system and in the American currency. And that's exactly what's been happening since Trump took office.
Okay, so let's bring in currency expert Jens Nordvik, Exante Data's founder and CEO. He's also co-founder and CEO of Market Reader, a Wall Street analysis platform. Jens, you and I both have backgrounds, you much more so than I, in foreign exchange, currencies, commodities, rates, and everything else. What do you think is the real situation with the dollar right now? Is the shine coming off, or is this just something technical to watch out for?
A lot of investors were very optimistic about the United States going into this year. A lot of people had very, very elevated U.S. equity exposure in their international portfolios, happy with owning U.S. treasuries that had higher yields than most other bonds, right? And now we're suddenly facing just an accumulation of shocks, trade shocks, shocks to foreign policy that people didn't expect. And people are getting very uncomfortable having these very big U.S. exposures in their European portfolios, Canadian portfolios, Australian portfolios, that could go on. And we saw it in the price action last week. Very, very dramatic. And it's continuing this week, right, with some of the biggest dollar moves we've seen for decades as these asset allocation shifts get in motion. People reducing U.S. exposure.
Knowing everything you know about Trump, you might be asking, well, shit, where do his loyalties lie? Is it with us, the American people, or is it with his crypto bros, the people that are making him hundreds of millions of dollars with smoke and mirrors? Well, here's the thing, folks. You don't have to wonder about where Trump's loyalties lie. Like any other human being, his motivations are revealed by his actions. We are what we do, not what we say. Trump's social media company, Truth Social, has already built up a multi-billion-dollar portfolio of Bitcoin, and they've announced plans to pivot to become a digital asset treasury, accumulating billions of dollars in another cryptocurrency called Kronos. Donald Trump Jr. argued earlier this year that the Trumps are going to be accused of wrongdoing no matter what they do. So why don't they just do their business, right? At a conference in Qatar, he said, we're not just going to go so far as to stymie our business forever, lock ourselves in a proverbial padded room. We're just going to play the game, end quote. Trump's sons, Donald Jr. and Eric, are also tied to a Bitcoin mining venture that's listed on the NASDAQ as of September of 2025. Trump is even putting the might of the U.S. government behind crypto by ordering the creation of a strategic crypto reserve, like we have with oil and gold. But again, this reserve is going to have digital currency, cryptocurrency, which is backed by nothing. There are no barrels of oil. There is no gold.
Promise to make America the Bitcoin superpower of the world and the crypto capital of the planet. And we're taking historic action to deliver on that promise, as you know, around the table. Yesterday, I signed an executive order officially creating our strategic Bitcoin reserve. And this will be a virtual Fort Knox for digital gold to be housed within the United States Treasury. That's a big thing.
Ever since last year on the campaign trail, Donald Trump has been talking about creating a strategic Bitcoin reserve in which the United States would buy a bunch of Bitcoin and just hold it and hope that it goes up in price. Now, the U.S. has bought other assets and held them strategically over the course of its history. But usually these are assets which have scarcity and which is important not to run out of them. So for instance, in the 1970s, after there was an oil crisis, the U.S. decided to create an oil reserve so that if there was ever, say, turmoil in the Middle East, they would be able to tap into the reserves so American people would be able to have oil. This crypto reserve seems to function in a very different way. The idea, essentially, is that if you buy crypto now, it's going to increase in value so much that maybe we'll be able to pay off some of our debt, or that this greatly inflated crypto is going to be worth a lot more in the future. Obviously, this is a lot of speculation, and a lot of economists are worrying about the soundness of this plan, especially because it will not include only Bitcoin, but 4 other cryptocurrencies, including 3 much smaller and more volatile ones, including Solana and Cardano. So basically, the plan is for Trump to somehow obtain a bunch of crypto. And this is going to be very good for the crypto industry, obviously, because if he buys in maybe millions of dollars, then all of those prices will go up, and it will also send a signal to other governments that maybe they should get in the game. It's very unclear how Trump plans to pay for this crypto, whether he's going to, for instance, raise taxes or maybe sell off a bunch of golds. But there are a lot of people inside the crypto industry who are also very skeptical of this plan.
It's all based on confidence. It's like the movie Dumb and Dumber.
Listen, Mr. Samsonite, about the briefcase. My friend Harry and I have every intention of fully reimbursing you. Open it up. Open it up! Go ahead. Open it up. Do what he says. Harry.
What is this? Where's all the money?
That's as good as money, sir. Those are IOUs. Go ahead and add it up. Every cent's accounted for. Look, see this? That's a car. 275,000. Might want to hang on to that one.
Those IOUs are only worth what people believe they are worth. They're inherently not money. And Trump's also transmitted to regulators in the SEC that investors don't have to worry about government interference in their crypto ventures while he is in office. He appointed Paul Atkins, a crypto supporter, as head of the SEC. He let it be known that, hey, this is the wild, wild west and anything goes. He also introduced something known as a stable coin last year. There's nothing inherently special about Trump's stable coin versus others other than its connection to the president. As Matt Zhang, the founder of a digital asset firm called HiveMind, said, everybody can print or everybody can mint a stable coin. The difficult part is how you drive adoption, end quote. Unlike banks that offer interest on deposits, stablecoin issuers keep the income that they make from investments on treasuries. So like when you deposit money at the bank, they're supposed to pay you an interest rate as your money is there. It's the opposite with these stablecoins. They basically hold the reserves, but whatever interest comes from the underlying profits, they get to keep. So the more people adopt the stablecoin, the more money World Liberty earns, the more money Trump puts in his pockets.
The president and his family, they launched this currency, USD1. What is it exactly, and how is it traded?
So USD1, it's a stable coin. It's a cryptocurrency that's pegged against the dollar. There are a number of, much more popular stable coins, Tether and Circle. The Trump family, via their World Liberty financial venture, they're looking to kind of enter that marketplace, and their plan is to try to take the top spot.
So how does this cryptocurrency develop value, and how does the Trump family make billions out of it?
So with USD1, you go to World Liberty, you give them $1, they'll issue you one USD1 token. And with the money that World Liberty then collects, they can then invest that in the reserves that underpin the currency. This is primarily, kind of U.S. government treasuries. So far, World Liberty, they've accumulated about $2.2 billion in reserves to underpin USD1. And at current interest rates, that means they're earning they can earn about $80 million a year in interest.
And so we're showing this graphic. The company Binance, which is involved here, receives a $2 billion investment, you report, from an outside investor paid with Trump's coin. And that deal causes the circulation of Trump's coin to then skyrocket. And then Binance actually pays people up to $1 million to trade it, all the while the Trump family is making money on the interest.
Exactly. So, of the total amount of USD1 in circulation, Binance is currently holding the vast majority of that, about $2 billion. And that's enabling, the Trump family and World Liberty to profit from those reserves. In addition, according to our reporting, Binance, through a kind of an external platform, it's basically enabling a huge amount of trading in USD1, which is allowing the Trump family to say that this token, that there's a very high amount of demand for their token, in the marketplace. The more the token is circulating, the more money they can earn from the reserves.
It seems like that initial investment is what allowed it to have this sort of big explosion effect, to have all of these coins now circulating in the marketplace, which adds to the value here. Do we know who made that initial investment?
So, the initial kind of big break for USD1 was that a UAE fund called MGX, they were making a $2 billion investment into Binance. And this investment was paid in USD1. Binance then kind of took control of the USD1. And, given that, if you were to take Binance away, there's quite a high likelihood that its market capitalization, could shrink all the way back down to around kind of $200 million.
And talk to us about this other potential conflict of interest. Who is the founder and the co-owner of Binance, and how does he fit into all of this?
So the founder of Binance is Changpeng Zhao, or CZ. He's probably the richest man in the crypto world. Binance, they paid a $4.3 billion fine to settle anti-money laundering violations 2 years ago. CZ, he was in jail for 4 months last year.
Here in the U.S.
And he's in the U.S., yeah. And he's, CZ has said publicly that he is seeking a pardon, from President Trump. And, through our reporting, we've been looking at how, at the same time that he's seeking a pardon, Binance has been, helping World Liberty Financial, grow its crypto business.
So the total market cap of Trump's stablecoin is $2.2 billion, almost all of that coming from a foreign government who now has access to the ear of the American president and invested into a platform that's owned by a criminal who's basically seeking a pardon from Trump. Can we see the fucking problems with this? This is not America's best interest. This is Trump's best interest. Everyone else be damned. So let's get down to brass tacks here. How much is Trump making from all this bullshit?
How much money the president has actually made from his cryptocurrency ventures?
In total, the president's meme coin and other crypto businesses have made almost $3 billion. But that's only the money we know about. There's an opaque web of Trump crypto and non-crypto businesses, including Trump Media Group and Truth Social, that make it incredibly hard to know how many coins he's sold or to whom, or whether he might have investments in other crypto companies.
President Trump last year vowing to make the United States the crypto capital of the world. Well, that is still up for debate. What can be confirmed is that the Trump family specifically has become a crypto magnet. The Wall Street Journal reports the Trump family's crypto venture has generated more wealth since the election than any other part of the president's business empire.
So now we have a situation where Trump's tokens can be bought by anybody, which means that anyone wishing to curry favor with the president can contribute to his personal finances through a cryptocurrency, which can't even be identified, can't even be tracked, essentially handing over sacks of digital cash for access to the president.
Trump and his family own a big stake in World Liberty Financial. So this launch sure does create more pathways for them to profit from the crypto industry, which, of course, President Trump has embraced wholeheartedly.
So they've created this currency with Trump's name on it. The family holds a lot of the currency. So if people outside buy the other currency, that drives up the price. And drives up their wealth. I get that. What does it matter that the president of the United States went into the crypto business while also promoting that very same business as president of the United States?
Well, as you point out, it underlines the extraordinary degree to which President Trump and his family are using the Oval Office to profit personally, and how much the crypto industry is really at the center of that. I mean, you may recall, Steve, that just a few years ago, Trump called crypto a scam. Mm-hmm. Now he's embraced it. He's vowed to make the United States the crypto capital of the world. He's loaded up his administration with crypto-friendly regulators. And he's started crypto businesses, so he's in a position to profit from these more relaxed rules coming out of his government. All of this is why many government ethics and financial experts have raised alarms about conflicts of interest. I spoke about this with Ross Delston, who's a lawyer and a former banking regulator at the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation.
Is this the kind of money that somebody wanting to influence the president, become friends with the president, would want to invest in? Absolutely. It used to be you had to join Mar-a-Lago. This is much more fun. You don't even have to get out of bed in the morning.
Of course, Carolyn Levitt runs out and rebukes people who says that there is any possible indication that Trump is somehow profiting from the presidency.
Did anyone in the White House or in the White House counsel's office advise the president against holding this sweepstakes, whereby people who spent the most money on his Trump coin would then have access to the president at this dinner?
Again, the president has been asked about this. He has addressed this. I have also stated previously from this podium that the president is abiding by all conflict of interest laws that are applicable to the president. And I think everybody, the American public, believe it's absurd for anyone to insinuate that this president is profiting off of the presidency. This president was incredibly successful before giving it all up to serve our country publicly. And not only has he lost wealth, but he also almost lost his life. He has sacrificed a lot to be here, and to suggest otherwise is frankly completely absurd.
Trump is using the presidency to pump up his crypto ventures. This is a massive pump and dump where he gets to sell virtual bullshit in exchange for access to his power as the president. He's made it very clear to people around the world, presidency's up for sale. This is how you buy in. My crypto. So that's the story, folks. Trump has reimagined the old pump and dump scheme of the 90s for a new generation. He sells access to the president for virtual sacks of cash. And the more chaos he spreads and the more he drives down the value of the American dollar, the more he and his family makes. He wins, the American people lose. Not the crypto bros or the billionaires, but everybody else. All of us that have assets valued in American dollars. Our stocks, our bonds, our mutual funds, our CDs, hell, even cash in a savings account. We all lose when the American dollar loses value. As of September 16th, 2025, one English pound was worth $1.35. 1 euro was worth $1.18. So in a nutshell, it would feel very expensive to be an American traveling to Europe right now. And it would be a huge bargain for a European coming to the United States. So that's all we've got for this week. If you want to help out the channel, please subscribe or follow us on your preferred podcasting platform, and tell your fellow disgusted Americans where they could find us to give us a listen. If you have a few moments, please leave us a rating on your preferred podcasting platform so more folks can find the show. Those ratings do really help out when it comes to people finding us. New episodes drop on Wednesdays typically, sometimes on Thursdays like today. And appreciate you tuning in. Hope you have a great night. Look forward to speaking to you soon. Ciao. Bye for now.